am Rachel Yocum. It's April 3rd, 2021, and we're right outside Philadelphia in Ardmore, Pennsylvania. Here I have a crazy quilt that was gifted to me by my aunt. It's passed down through our family. There's a lot of questions about this quilt. We're not very sure, but we have a few pieces like appraisals. My great great aunt purchased it in New York City in the 1950s at a thrift shop, which she called in a letter. And on the original tag, it said it was made by a descendant of U.S. Grant. There's no proven information about that, but it was on the tag. It's very grand. It's all silk, velvet, and silk pieces, silk thread, incredibly detailed. There are a few areas where it's degraded, but overall, it looks pretty good for being stored in a hot attic for 45 years. I've tried to take my precautions on preserving it further, but I think it still looks great. I am a big Victorian collector. I love the Victorian era, anything from like pre-Civil War up until early 1900s. And my aunt, she was moving and she pulled this out and showed it to me, and it was right up my alley. I didn't really know too much about quilts, but I did know this was really special and just super elaborate, something that took someone a great deal of time. And it's really a treasure to me, and it's been a really big gift to be able to research it and find out more about it. I got it last July when they were moving. She just was going through stuff, slimming down her collection, her home, piece by piece, and she'd have me come from Central PA, just pick up stuff. And this was one of the last pieces she gave me. She really didn't have too many. She had one that she was taking with her that I think a family member made, probably in like the 40s, 50s cotton quilt. This was the only silk quilt that she had.
The color is still so good. She must have stored it well.
She really did not. It was wrapped in a beach towel, a very rough, scratchy neon green beach towel, and stored in a hot, dirty attic for 45 years. So I was given it wrapped in this beach towel, and I remember carrying it in my arms, so worried that pieces, when she opened it, from the pink silk, which is really degraded, every time I take it out, more comes off. I just consider those sections doomed at this point.
Yeah.
But they're pretty much all but gone. There's one fan in particular where it appears that you can still see it's a really, really, really bright fuchsia pink. But other than that, a lot of the other colors look beautiful. There's some really lovely orange where the fabric's kind of textured. There's striped pieces, pinks, reds. They're all very vibrant yet. Also, something that was noted on the original tag on it, which was the tag that said it belonged or was made by a descendant of U.S. Grant, said that all the flowers and foliage embroidered on it was wildflowers that grew in the state of Connecticut. I don't know where that would tie into the Grant family being from Connecticut. But then again, there's just so much. You never know if the antique store just made some of this info up to kind of sell it with a cool story. But I really haven't been able to do research. I can't figure out what certain flowers are, but some of them I'm able to decode, like a lily of the valley right here. There's a thistle. There's some golden wheat where it's really textured and fluffy. There's little daisies, maple leaves. Around the edges and the scallops right here, they're bigger, wider fans with more detail at the base. They all have more detailed flowers, but in my research, I kind of figured these were patterns that you could get out of a book, for the little detailed embroidery. I saw it on another quilt similar to this. It was definitely more detailed, but the flowers were almost the same in certain parts of her quilt. So I'm wondering if they use the same embroidery book for certain decorations. I really dug around first on a antiques group on Reddit. I posted it right when I got it. Had many people reach out to me say, you need to contact a museum, you need to find someone to preserve it. So that's what really kicked it off for me. There was like a few people who basically said, this isn't worth anything. It's dead, it's falling apart, like just enjoy it now. But then I posted it on Weird and Wonderful Secondhand Finds that just need to be shared on Facebook. It's a really interesting group where I've seen and learned so much about different antiques and unusual items. But I had a really big reaction on the group. And that's where I believe your friend tagged you and how you
Yep.
found this quilt. But yeah, I got so much information. A lot of people messaged me, a lot of people gave their experience with preserving an antique textile. Some people gave me like resources on how to contact a museum, which I found has been hard to do. Not too many have responded, but yeah, it's been interesting, and I definitely have learned a lot talking to you.
Well, you've done so much research. I'm so impressed. I'm kind of interested in that. You probably are unusual in your family in terms of your generation of people interested in antiques like this. Do you think that's true, or is that a common thing amongst other family or your friends?
I'm definitely I think our grandmother, she was like an incredible artist. We lived in Central PA. There weren't too many people like her there. And I think my aunt, we're all a bit creative and like old stuff. A lot of my cousins, like some live in Los Angeles, one lives in New York. They like a more modern style, which I understand. But I've been really, when I was in high school, I started collecting like kitschy 70s stuff from vintage shops, thrift stores. And then as I was able to afford it, I was able to start collecting Victorian pieces. But I think I'm the only one in my family who truly really loves this kind of stuff. And I actually just recently started my own Etsy and Instagram for antiques and vintage shop.
Oh, cool. What's the name of it?
Crawling Snake Vintage. It's a reference to a Doors song that I always liked.
I love it.
But it was original and it was available, so I took
Yeah.
it.
How are you storing it?
I'm really have been trying to research how to store it. Right now I have it totally wrapped in acid-free paper.
Hmm.
When I take it out, I change out the paper.
Yeah.
So this time I'll put new paper down, so it's not crinkled. And then I'm taking a really thick blanket I have.
Uh-huh.
I think it's like a microfiber blanket and rolling it lengthwise, kind of really thick folds to keep it
Yeah.
from creasing. And I do take it out every 3 months probably. It lives under my bed right now.
Well,
I don't know where else to put it. And I have been looking for like a nice archival box that would be able to store it without folding it over. Um,
I bet
but I can't find one that big.
I think what you're doing is right. I think some people might even say rolling it over, like get one of those pool noodles and wrap like
Oh
muslin
yeah.
around the pool noodle and then put your paper down and then wrap it onto the noodle so that there's no folds at all.
Okay.
That depends on, where the embroidery is most delicate and like how big the bigger the diameter, the better, I would think.
So
Um,
it's very, very delicate all over. Some areas do feel hard, crunchy almost.
Yeah.
There's areas of it that are pretty interesting. All the fabric here is, I think, probably a very, very dark indigo dye. It looks blue, but I mean, it looks black, but in the sun, it has like a really light blue glow to it. But there's a few fans here, two over there, one here, where they use brown velvet, which
Well,
I have no idea why,
maybe
when
they were
everything else is
down.
black.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There's no particular pattern to how the fans go. They're just doing their own thing.
Oh my God, I
But
love it so much.
I don't know. There's a really cool back. I don't know if I was able to show that to you.
Oh yeah.
Um, it should be fine to just fold it here for a second. There's a
Oh,
lovely blue
gorgeous.
back with scroll work,
Ah,
flowers, all solid silk piece. Um,
wow.
Somebody told me, and I don't know who it was. He claimed to be a historian. I don't know. I don't trust people on Reddit.
Yeah.
But he said he did give a few good points. He said that these pieces of silk were treated, weighted, and the hot pink with the color to give them some weight. The dye could have
Oh,
corroded the silk, and he told me that since they magnesium salts, I think he said they were treated with, cause are basically over time silk treated with that just disintegrates. Um, but he also made a note, which kind of seems accurate to me, that this could have been a piece that someone worked on for 30 years or more, just very slowly. Because the
yeah.
backing piece kind of looks more reflective of the like turn of the century. I see some like it looks very French.
Yeah, it
I
does.
don't know. I don't know too much about textiles, which is why I don't want to be totally sure on this. But like just from what I've seen and studied, it looks very European, the backing, and it's very fine silk, and it looks almost a little too um like Art Nouveau, like early Art Nouveau to be Victorian,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. It's just
Yeah.
from things I've picked up.
For
But
me.
I would love to, if any museum, like especially like a local, within like a few states of me, would want to display it, I'd be more than happy, because I mean right now it's not getting seen, it's not being appreciated like it
Yeah.
should be. This is someone's like life's work, in my opinion, and I it would be a shame if it sat under my bed my whole life. I would rather have it out for other people to enjoy.
I agree. Well, Rachel, thank you so
Oh,
much. This is
thank you,
so
Amy.
sweet of you, and I promise to do right by this and